The Chicago Bulls have made the moves to start solidifying what their roster is going to look like for the 2024-25 season and finally making some roster cuts. Did the Bulls make the right decisions, though, on their roster cut so far? We're going to talk about it all and more, but first, we got to play that intro.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. Let's go ahead and get into it, man. So the Chicago Bulls have waived Kenny Lofton Jr. and Onuralp Bitim. And, this was kind of the writing on the wall, right? So the Bulls have moved to the next steps of getting closer and closer to solidifying and finalizing their roster, which now leaves with waiving Onuralp Bitim that has now left an open roster spot for the Chicago Bulls actual roster. The Bulls still do have an open two-way contract spot as well. And that's where people are thinking that THT and EJ Liddell are basically going to fit in, right? It's not as straightforward as that, but it is how things are looking right now. And, ultimately, I think it just comes down to the fact that THT played amazing in preseason. Like, that's really what it came down to. Now, I will say this. I think that decision was basically made a little before that, because even if you look at the early preseason games, THT got off the bench before Onuralp Bitim. In training camp, I really think that THT must have started separating himself from a player like Onuralp Bitim, and it just comes down to the reliability. THT is not only younger than Onuralp, he is a player that also has done it at an NBA level, and Onuralp is not. Like, he just did not. Onuralp last season, OB, had the eye injury, and so we found that out. And so, that may have excused why his shooting wasn't quite what it was shaped up to be. But I think it just comes down to this, is that while OB has had some really good performances and played amazing over in EuroLeague, the NBA is a completely different league. And every time every year we go through this with some player, whether it's the Bulls or any other team, where, there's players that some can make the easy transition from playing over in Europe to coming over to the NBA and give similar production. And some players, whether it be adapting to the consistent physicality, adapting to the athleticism that they're going to face. OB was a player that overseas was a solid defender and offensive player. We're talking about taking players off the dribble. He did some facilitating. He was able to finish around the rim, and we never really saw that. He was not able to create that type of separation at the NBA level. He wasn't able to defend in a meaningful way at the NBA level, and it's not for effort. Like, Obi gave effort defensively. He didn't get a lot of opportunities offensively, but it's not like he didn't give effort. He did. And I think it just comes down to it. He just didn't adapt well to the NBA game. Now, that doesn't mean that another team may not pick him up or whatever else. We'll see what the future holds for him. But the way THT played during this preseason period, like, he brought everything you want on the court. And you just can't ignore a performance like that. And what THT was able to do specifically in fourth quarters, the consistency in which he was able to do it as well. It's not like THT had one hot game and you're like, oh, we got to make a decision based off some so-so performances. No, THT in the preseason looked freaking amazing. And that's just is what it is when it comes down to it. Like, you just can't ignore the production that THT was given. And so you look at it, the first game, preseason game, 8 points, cool. Then he had 5 of 11 for 16 points, 2 rebounds, 1 block, 3 steals. Then 15 points on 4 of 10, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. Then 17 points last night, right? And so, and that was his best shooting night, going 7 of 15 from the field. He was basically 40% from 3 in each one of those games as well. And so, listen, when it just comes down to it, THT played and performed at a level that you need him to play at. And with EJ Liddell, it's not as straightforward, right? Because we haven't seen a lot of EJ Liddell. We didn't see a lot of Kenny Lofton Jr. You kind of think that with EJ Liddell not officially being waived yet, it may mean that the Bulls are going to put him on that two-way contract. Now, it's not a guarantee, right? We've seen players be on camp deals before that get waived that end up coming back on the two-way contract. So for any Kenny Lofton Jr. fans out there that want to see him stick around this Bulls team, It's not for sure yet that he may not get that last two-way deal. So DJ Stewart, Adama Sanogo have the two-way deals. Javon Freeman Liberty, who was signed and waived, is going to sign a G League deal, not a two-way deal. So still does open up the chance that maybe Kenny Lofton Jr. is brought back on a two-way contract. Again, it's not like we have a whole lot of data on them and their performances in the offseason to really kind of judge between the two players, but there has to be something to the fact that the Bulls have not waived EJ Liddell yet, right? Like that would be a common thought, is the fact that, well, Haize, if they weren't going to keep him at all, why wouldn't he be the one that they were cut today? And that's fair thinking. So, we'll see what ends up shaking out with that. But unfortunately, with the Bulls having mainly guaranteed deals, it doesn't really leave them a lot of lateral movement when it comes down to it. So, that's just what it comes down to. And so ultimately, the Bulls have made seemingly their decisions. We'll see if anything surprising or anything happens as well. And the Bulls may push off. I know, we got one preseason game left. Theoretically, with making the moves of moving Kenny Lofton Jr., moving Onuralp Bitim, it's going to give you, and Lonzo's already said that he's playing. We'll see if the guys like Ayo and Julian Phillips and Dalen come back in that last preseason game. The Bulls may want to take a look at their actual rotation. Run a similar rotation down to the minutes that they're going to run during the regular season in this last preseason game. And so we'll see what happens with that as well. But overall, listen, it just comes down to it. It is what it is, man. And that's where it sits right now. Let's go ahead and see how you guys feel. I also want to talk about what came out of practice today, but let's see how you guys are feeling about this so far. Can he look good on offense? Hope he finds a way to develop. I mean, listen, I'm not taking away from how you feel, but I mean, Kenny Lofton didn't play nearly enough for me to say he looked good or bad for that matter, right? So I'm not saying he looked terrible, but I'm not going to say he looked good either. It's a very small sample size, and it's really hard to make any type of meaningful analysis on just how little he played in the preseason. He didn't play a lot. What did he play? We got in one game in the preseason and played 15 minutes. So, and he went 1 of 3. It's not really making an impression there one way or another. Shout out to the Transformer Jay Capone, the Don, man. He's in here rolling in. We appreciate him all the time. If we are going to lose that pick next year, might as well win as many games as we can so that pick isn't as high in the draft. I mean, yeah. I mean, the Bulls are hoping that they're going to be this good team to where if they do miss out on the pick, they miss out on the pick, but we'll see. With the way THT played, AK will look terrible if you let him go. I mean, that's a fact as well, too. That's a fact. Wish Lofton was kept somehow. I mean, listen, Kenny Lofton Jr. signed a G League deal last season. So who's to say that maybe he doesn't stick around on the Windy City Bulls or something like that? There's a chance of that, right? So what's THC's plus minus been overall across the span too? Seems like it's been decent. Now, that's a great question. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I can pull that up. What's really weird right now is that ESPN, if you go look at Taylor Horton Tucker on ESPN site, they actually have a picture of Dalen Terry. So clearly they're trying to update some stuff, but aren't doing a very good job at it. It's really weird, really weird. That's crazy, actually. That's very strange. That's actually pretty damn funny. How the hell do they do that? You got one job. Like it amazes me all the time when outlets like ESPN that have all the tools at their disposal to be decent just do stupid shit. Like it's just like the fact that they don't update player rates ever. Like you just don't update. I mean, wait, like what are you doing out there? What are you really doing? You have every tool at the disposal. You could hire 150 people. Yet you can't keep your website updated to save your fucking life. It's really fucking strange. It's really strange, people. Like it amazes me the inconsistencies of ESPN's website. So had 2 games of -9 and -10, +1, so that takes that to -18. So had a plus minus of -12 over the course of the preseason. But then again, you can't hold that against him, mainly because, in some of those runs that he was out there, some of those times he was out there, it was garbage time. So I wouldn't hold the plus minus against THT. I gotta eat crow on my Lonzo take. Glad he proved me wrong. I still don't think he'll have a long career, but coming back was historic. Well, the thing is, right, and the doctor that's been talking about Lonzo's case over on his YouTube channel mentioned, like, hey, Lonzo Ball is probably going to make a comeback, but there's going to be huge questions on how long he's going to be able to play. And that's just something there's not data on, right? And so when you already factor in that Lonzo was already injury prone player, and I can see if all his injuries were just that knee, it wasn't, right? It wasn't always that knee. Now, two of his major injuries came down to that knee. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see how Lonzo's the rest of his career goes. It's also going to be really interesting to see how the Bulls factor that in with him being a free agent at the end of this year. Like if they bring Lonzo Ball back, right? I don't think you're ever betting on Lonzo to be a starter anytime soon because he's probably going to be on like a Joel Embiid type plan. Like Joel Embiid saying he may never play back-to-backs again. That may be Lonzo's future, but we don't know for sure. It's such an unprecedented territory that's going to really be interesting to watch. The announcers mistook Stewart for Io last night. I guess anyone with dreads looks. See, we all don't look alike. We all don't look alike. That's crazy. That's crazy. Is there anything to be worried about with injuries before the start of the season? Do the players all seem fine, seeing as some didn't play some preseason? Yeah, so the Bulls, them not I wouldn't read too much into them not playing preseason games, mainly because they just are being extra precautious. Like that's just really all it is. I don't think there's any really major, like serious injury concerns as far as like, oh, you may come into the preseason and not come out of preseason and not play the first week. I don't think there's anything like that to be worried about right now with this Bulls team. So this whole Lonzo surgery is all new experiment, and we're going to be observing and monitoring all the data going forward for future. That's a fact. Big fact there. Huge fact. But all right, I said I also wanted to talk about some of the things that came out of practice today. So Billy Donovan was not there at practice today. Apparently, he has his own like sickness going on, so he wasn't there due to that. So Wes Unseld Jr. did hold the practice today, and so that's cool. With that said, but Wes Unseld Jr., who Billy Donovan has turned the offense over, the defense over to, did talk about what the team wants to be defensively and saying how the mentality that they're trying to have as a defensive team this season. And here's what I'll say, right? The thing, it doesn't really bother me, the Bulls defense too much because maybe that's just my own I expected this to be a rough season for the Bulls defensively. And I'd say this, per my expectations coming in, they've actually looked a little bit better than I was expecting the Bulls to look defensively. Now, it's preseason. We don't know how hard all these teams were going and whatever. And we'll see what that looks like that going forward. But I do think overall, to hear that Lonzo went through practice again, full practice. The Bulls had a light practice today. Everything's kind of just looking forward to the Bulls starting off this season fully healthy. And I think that's what you really want to look at while you're going forward and trying to figure out your balance of your team and everything like that. Emilio says, sucks that Kenny Lofton was waived. He's a good player that sucks. Hopefully G League at least, but the Bulls have a lot of players to tend to. I mean, listen, here's the thing that I'm going to tell you guys, right? And this isn't to yuck on anybody's yum or anything like that, but when it comes down to it, if the Bulls season came down to if they carried on to Kenny Lofton Jr. or not, we're a tanking team. And it's not going to come down to that. Like, I get it. Every year there's a player in the preseason or something that looks good. Like it was Javon Freeman Liberty last offseason. Remember how devastated some Bulls fans were that we let him go to Toronto and we didn't re-sign him? He ended up not making an impact for Toronto. We didn't even end up missing, right? Like these back end of the bench players very rarely go on to another team and making a huge impact or being somebody you really miss down the road. Now, it does happen. I'm not going to say it never happens either. I'm just saying in the grand scheme of things, in 2 months, we're not going to be thinking about Kenny Lofton Jr. We're just not. Because hopefully Adama Sanogo's playing more, because that's the key thing. Adama Sanogo has a way higher ceiling than Kenny Lofton Jr. Extremely higher than Kenny Lofton Jr. So I'm more concerned about that. If Zoes plays 40 games like he did last night, the Bulls should win 30 of those games. No, you can't say. Lonzo Ball's performance was great, but it's not the type of performance that you can say, oh, the Bulls are going to win 30 games because of having Lonzo. No, I'm sorry. Just no. Can't say that. Love the assistants adding their eyes and voices to the team. Yeah, and I love that Billy Donovan's really turned a little bit of that over to it for sure. What's good, man? I've been thinking about about the team, and I can see our floor is making the play-in, which No, floor is definitely floor making the play in. No, to say the floor is making the play in would then be to say that the ceiling is making that. No, it's not. And but don't be so caught up in the mirage of preseason that a lot has to be told during the regular season. There's been nothing to be shown that to say that our floor is now making the play in. That no, that's just not the case. Not the case. What's up, Haize? Now that you losing all this weight, let me buy all your old Bulls attire. Laughing but serious. That is listen. It's so weird, bro. Like this is. I just bought this shirt like 3 months ago, bro. Like that was before I started work. Like being heavy into my. It's so fucking weird, bro. And I have so much Bulls gear that I'm just like, I'm just gonna have to tough this shit out, bro. Like it's so weird. Like it's just. I hate it. I hate that I have all this. Like look at the neck of my shirt. Just look at that. Like that just looks sloppy, right? Thank God I have the beard that covers it up. But it's just like, man, it sucks. It sucks. But hey, I had to get healthy, had to take my health more serious. I want to be here for another 30, 40 years, hopefully. So, I was going to say he would have been good if we were going all in on a rebuild, but it's clear we're still trying to straddle the line. Yep, exactly. Completely agree with you on that one, Camille. Jake says, my hope for the Bulls: 1, Kobe has an all-star year. 2, Lonzo can give 20 solid minutes off the bench. Modest can be in the rookie of the year convo. Pat and Julian can have huge defensive pieces. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. Do you think that was Billy calling plays last night, or is that the point guard? Oh no, listen, it's always it's always the coach calling plays. Now, I do like keep in mind, even when a coach calls plays, you have 15 different branches on most plays, and the point guard and the team has to kind of decide that based off read and react. So I think it was a combination of both. Yep, not enough minutes for Lofton, but if lot of injured, I like the potential. I can see where you're coming from there. I can see you coming from there. Haize, if Lonzo shows steady improvement, do you ramp up his minutes or keep it the same as it is? I think they'll ramp it up over time. I definitely think they'll ramp it up. I explained this yesterday on stream. I think that with just what I've seen and kind of read and things like that, I think that it can go. I think this is one of the ways that it can go. I'm not saying that this is the absolute way that it can go, but I think this is one of the ways that it can go. I think that the first month of the season, and I don't mean October because we start in the middle of October. So from beginning of the season to about mid to end November, you're probably going to see him stay on the minutes restriction that he's on. After that month, I think they're going to reevaluate and say, all right, 16 minutes per game, we're going to raise that to 18 minutes. And then the next thing you may see after that is, okay, 18 minutes a game, you did that. You haven't had any setbacks. Let's start adding some back-to-backs in there. So now you're doing 18 minutes a game, some back-to-backs. You're about halfway through the season now. And then maybe after the All-Star break, right? Because that's about 2/3 of the way through the season. If he has gone through that without any major setbacks and he's feeling okay, that's where you may see over the last couple of months of the season, maybe about 20 minutes, 22 minutes per game. That's what we'll see. Not enough minutes for Lonzo to truly win a lot of games, but definitely can help. Oh, yeah, he's definitely, listen, Lonzo's on the court. He's going to help you. That's for sure. Don't worry. I'm your old size. I can help you out. That is hilarious. Is Kobe still going to be inconsistent this year? Does he stay playing like this? That's the question. Listen, that is the biggest question with Kobe, right? I know people talk about, like, can Kobe go from 19 to like 24 points per game? I don't even think that it's that, right? Because if you look at Kobe White, if he stays more consistent, that's without him really doing more, he's probably going to go up to 20, 22 points per game. I'd much rather see a more consistent Kobe White than to see a Kobe White that averages more but still has the weak of just not being able to score really well or stuff like that. More efficient and getting to the free throw line. That's the thing that I want to see from Kobe White more this season, right? And I think we'll see it. I think that we'll see it. The ramp up minutes is possible, KC said, but again, speculation how he feels yeah, exactly. Everything comes down to how he feels every single game. They are going to, because they're unprecedented, right? You don't have any other data to look at another player with this. So the Bulls are going to be really, really cautious with this. Kobe going to take the next step. We'll have less worry that he's going to do it all now. Yeah, we'll see. Will EJ be on the Bulls G League roster? We'll see. I mean, it's looking that way right now. He's probably going to get that last two-way spot, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to make that assumption quite yet. So what exactly is? I mean, we've seen the starting lineup: Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, Nikola Vucevic. That's going to be the starting lineup, at least to start the season. Bro, 139 in the chat, only 27 likes. Yeah, come on, man. Y'all like the damn video. Like the damn video. And for the 65 people watching over on Twitter, go over to YouTube, go to Chicago Bulls Central, and hit the subscribe button to help the channel and the show grow. Matter of fact, this is what I want everybody to do. All 207 people watching right now between YouTube and on Twitter, I need everybody, when they get off of this, go to iTunes, go to Spotify, whichever one that you got, and go leave a 5-star review in Spotify or iTunes for the podcast to help it go. Also, hit the subscribe button on the podcast side, even if you're a YouTube watcher. It'll help us grow over there as well. Listen, just all I ask. I'm delivering the best daily content for the Chicago Bulls you ever find. The least you can do is help the show grow. Go leave a review over there. Hey, as I said before the preseason started, that THT is going to be on the main roster, even over Bitim. Hey, if you called it, bro. I mean, listen, I didn't have that much faith in it. I'll be honest with you, but you can't deny the performance. That's what it all comes down to, right? And that's the thing. And I always try to say this with fans, right? Is that I get it. Every fan, anybody who tells you that I don't have my favorite, I don't have a player that I kind of rather, everybody does. It's natural. We do that as humans. You look at something, you start coming up with, oh, I think this guy can make it over this guy because of this. But once you start seeing the performance, it's okay to adjust your opinion. This world that we live in now, where people be like, that's not what you said 5 months ago, but tons of new data has popped up. It's okay. Guess what intelligent people do? When you're smart and you get new data, you take in that new data and you form and you help that form your new opinion. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to change your opinion, but you don't ignore new data just so you can hold on to old take and say, I've never changed my take. Okay, your take's stupid. It's wrong. So now what have you gained from that, right? I had my take. I did not think the THT was going to be able to perform the way that he did. But you know what? I watched the fucking games. And you know what I've let the games tell me? THT played fucking extremely well. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at the data and say, well, hey, I wanted Onuralp to make this team. But listen, he didn't look good on defensively. He couldn't get his shot off. And THT did all those things. It's okay to change your opinion. It's okay to change. Like, let's stop trying to frame people in this world where you have a take and you never can change that take ever in your life. No. Now, if you keep flip-flopping, that's the thing. Like, if you wake up one day and say, Lonzo Ball sucks, and then you wake up the day and say, Lonzo Ball is the greatest player ever, right? And you flip-flop day to day, that's stupid, right? But when you get new data on, it's okay to change your opinion. So there you go. I don't know if you tried this to work out, but I've been walking on a treadmill for the last year for maybe 30 minutes a day and sometimes even 40 minutes a day. And yes, I can use a listen, I know you can walk. I know I know your legs actually do work, Shay. Like I know that, brother. I just joined. Have you roasted anybody yet? No, Jordan. There hasn't been no reason to roast anybody yet. Vooch definitely looks more engaged. He looks more engaged in the last game. The first preseason game, he didn't look that engaged, but he has definitely turned it around. Is P.O. going to play next season, next preseason game, or will it mostly just be the players fighting over that last spot? Well, there's really no players left fighting over the last spot. So I think we're going, like, when you look at what the Bulls have waived, let me look at the roster to make sure I'm not tripping, because I could very well be tripping. Give me 1 second. So yeah, there are no other players fighting over the last spot. DJ Stewart's a two-way contract. Adama Sanogo's a two-way contract. Everybody else is on guaranteed deals. So it's just EJ Liddell and THT. Unless you plan on having them guard 10 people and just playing those two guys, no, you're going to see your actual rotation. So I think we're going to see a lot of the actual Bulls play. Shout out to Ray Keenan, said, "My still sniffing Lonzo's ball. Haha, joking, man. I'll admit I was sniffing a little, but for real, I believe Lonzo's here to prove the doubts. Appreciate your hard work and giving us the content daily." Listen. I understand. Like, we all have fandom moments, right? Like, but yeah, the way Lonzo looked in the last game, like that changed my opinion a lot on what the ceiling could be for Lonzo this season. Now, again, you want to see it over time because it's not just about having one game; it's about how his knee adjusts and things like that. And we'll see how that develops over time for sure. We'll definitely see that. But hey, Lonzo, one thing, I can't wait to see Lonzo out on the court with Modest, with Dalen, with Julian, because he's going to make those guys better. He's going to make those guys better for sure. Bulls fans don't hate it when one of their guys finds success. We're happy for THT and disappointed in Bitim. Can Bitim play in the G League? Willie accepted you. Keep in mind, he was a really good player over in EuroLeague. I won't say he wasn't like a franchise player over there, but he's really good. So we'll see. Any team's dumb enough to take Chris and Catfish off the Bulls' hands? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not at all. Listen, and you Chris Duarte truthers, how y'all feeling now? You know what? I'm gonna go find. I don't troll people a lot. I may go find the motherfucker that left the comment and said that Chris Duarte was better than Ayo Dosunmu and just troll the shit out of them for the next 24 hours. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Where is he at? Old man memes. I may have to troll him. And Frenchie Mendez. Those two motherfuckers. Yep. Definitely. You know what? I'm about to troll him right now. There you go. Every once in a while, I know I'm a grown ass man, but every once in a while, trolling people who say things. So, like the man confidently said, Chris Duarte is better than Ayo Dosunmu. That deserves to be trolled. I'm sorry. I deserve to be able to troll somebody who said something so ridiculous. I deserve to be able to do that. That is my right as a human and as an American. I deserve the right to troll that bastard. I feel like that's my right. I really feel like that's my right. It's a little childish. Yeah, it is. It's fine. I'm cool. I got an 18-year-old kid. I don't have nothing to prove to nobody about my maturity. That deserved to be trolled. I'm going to troll the shit out of. So, yeah. Definitely trolling that dude. Matter of fact, somebody said something stupid on Locked On Bulls, too. I'm trolling that motherfucker, too. I got time today. I got Petty Roosevelt. If y'all can't tell, Petty Roosevelt is back in full effect. I really thought that I was going to go through a season without being Petty Roosevelt, but I just realized I woke up the other day and I was like, you know what? I'm fully embracing all pettiness this season. I'm embracing all pettiness this season. So if y'all don't like your podcasters and your YouTubers to be a little petty, this may not be the channel for you because I am embracing all pettiness in the year of our Lord, 2024-25. All the pettiness is coming. It just is. It is what it is. I got pettiness for everybody. Now, that doesn't mean we can't disagree. Like me and Rave Kingdom had a disagreement. And listen, it ended up being he was more right than wrong. Right? So, it is what it is there. But for the people who just say stupid shit, oh no. I got time today. I got time. I got nothing but time on my hands. Trust me, I love to troll LeBron fans and Green Bay Packers fans and New York Knicks fans, not only but Miami Heat fans. Jesus Christ, who don't you like to troll? Let's see. Who was the dumbass on? Oh, it was the billionaire dude. Dude likes to fake like he got money. Definitely. I'm trolling all these motherfuckers today. Troll time. We on petty time today. So there you go on that one. But all right, y'all. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, man. I just wanted to bring these updates. If anything else happens with the Bulls roster, if news drops, we drop. That's what we do here at Chicago Bulls Central. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number, wait a second. I got to stop here. Listen. If Jonathan Isaac, and isn't it Isaac or is it S on the end? If Jonathan Isaac and Lonzo Ball are on the same team, that's too much knee problem for me. I don't want to see that. I'm sorry. Too much knees. It's too many knees. But I love you guys, man. Make sure you guys are following the show. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything petty and Chicago Bulls related. And I'll see you guys if news drop. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Go Bulls. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.